Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nurin Emelda Amani binti Muhammad Faisal. Me and my teammate Muhammad Syamir, Muhammad Akmal Hakim, Adriana Balkis and Syahira Amirah will present about sport skill analysis. The sport that we choose is badminton and the skill is backhand serve. First, we go to the movement of the backhand serve, which is leg extension. Leg extension occurs when the subject is preparing to perform the service. The left leg will be in a normal position, however, the right leg will be bent slightly backward as support for body stability. Second movement is hand extension. This movement occurs when the subject is holding the racket and serve the shuttlecock toward the opponent. At the same time, the hand that hold the racket swung forward and there was hand flexion movement that occur. The last movement is plantar flexion. Plantar flexion is movement occur as subject right foot is bent backward and the same foot will lifted slightly downward where the toes will touch the floor while the ankles will be lifted slightly. Then we move to the muscle, bone and joint involvement. The muscle involved during backhand serve are consist of two areas which is upper and lower body. For upper body is deltoid, bicep and tricep will involve. For lower body, it involves quadricep, gluteus maximus, hamstring and calf as function for support. Next, the bones that involved in this skill is humerus, radius, ulna and small bone that consists of carpal, metacarpal and phalanx. Lastly, the joint that involved is saddle joint, condyloid joint, hinge joint and ball and socket joint. For the next topic is phase of the backhand serve. Backhand serve consists of three phases, which is preparation phase. In this phase, the subject will stand close to the service line where it allows the subject to move quickly when need to move forward. Second is initiation phase. In this phase, subject will hold the racket firmly in a high grip position so that the middle part of the racket is easy to control. Make sure there is a space between the position of the racket and the body. At the same time, hold the shuttlecock with half of the thumb and index finger so that the subject can grip shuttlecock well. The last phase is implementation phase. Once the racket and shuttlecock position are in correct position, serve the shuttlecock to the opponent court. That's all from me. Up next presenter is Syahira Amirah will present about the next topic. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Syahira Amirah. Today I will present about form of motion and mechanical basis of human motion. So, motion is a movement that results from a force. In any physical activity, there are multiple forces and motion occurring. This could include angular motion around a joint or the motion of the whole body in various directions. The motion or movement of the body are often caused by forces produced by our muscles. Motion can be linear, angular or general. The type of motion is determined by the direction of movement. The only type of motion you are asked to understand is linear motion. However, in order to properly apply velocity, speed, acceleration and momentum, the other types of motion should be also defined. Angular motion is motion in a circular movement around a central point. Essentially, every movement of your body at a joint is angular. General motion is a combination of linear and angular motion. Linear movement is referred to as translatory motion or translational motion. It too many be thought of as motion along a line. Angular motion is movement in a circular development around a central point. Essentially, each development of your body at a joint is angular. General motion could be a combination of linear and angular motion. Angular motion is applicable in many phases of badminton and it's defined as being an object moving around a fixed point or axis with all parts moving at different speed, moving along a circular path. Linear motion is also intertwined with badminton and is defined as motion in one straight path at all the same speed in one same direction. Okay. So, angular motion. There is a lot of angular motion in badminton. It is especially seen in the head shots such as drop shot, forehand and backhand. The angular movement around the shoulder mean that not all parts are moving together as one in the same direction at the same speed. Second, as stated before, linear motion is prominent in badminton, and a prime example is the shuttlecock itself. After being struck, the shuttle move all together at once at the same speed in the same direction, which is an example of linear motion. First, inertia. Inertia is the resistance of an object to acceleration or motion, or it continuing to move unless an external forces act upon it. Newton's second law, which is acceleration. Acceleration is the force of an object is equal to its mass times the acceleration of the object. Newton's third law is action and reaction. Action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. This can be seen in badminton when a smash shot is applied and there is a bounce back from the racket and some force down the arm, that is the reaction force to the force applied. Okay, so inertia in badminton. Inertia in badminton can be seen when a shuttlecock struck on a serve. Shuttlecock is dropped, it is moving at relatively slowly speed until it is acted upon by the racket. It will then move in that direction unless acted upon by an external force, example gravity. Newton's second law in badminton, which is acceleration. Acceleration to badminton in many ways, but especially in backhand serve. When the shuttlecock is up in the air and it force equal to the acceleration time, the mass of the shuttlecock. The harder and faster you can hit the shuttlecock, the more acceleration and therefore force the shot will have. Newton's third law is action and reaction. Newton's third law states that for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. This can be seen in badminton when a backhand serve shot is applied and there is a bounce back from the racket and some force down the arm, that is the reaction force to the force applied. So we move to the next slide.
Next slide is a kinematic and kinetic analysis of the skills backhand serve badminton. So we have three types of serve badminton, which is a short serve, long serve and flick serve. Okay, we move to the describe the setup of the video recording. So I will show you about the step of the serve. Firstly, backhand grip must be relaxed. Second, the right leg should be straight while the left leg should be slightly bent. Next, you must to raise elbow as high as possible. Swing should be one smooth motion. Next, take shuttle at the lower point possible. And the last one is keep ourselves in a state of readiness after making a low or high serve to the opponent. So I will describe more at the video. I'm done recording. So enjoy it. Thank you. Hi, my name is Muhamad I'm from grade SR 1134B. So today I will show you about three types of backhand serve, which is a short serve, long serve and flick serve. So let's go. Okay, firstly, I recorded from my left to see the angle holding the shuttle properly. Short serve, long serve, flick serve. Okay, secondly, I record from the right to see how to hold the racket properly. Okay, the last one, I took the side from the front to see more clearly how to serve properly. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Muhammad bin Abu Bakar, and I'm gonna share with you about the kinematic and the kinetic properties. So, from doing the backhand serve, we gonna have the kinematic and the kinetic properties. So, we must know what is kinematic and kinetic first. Firstly, kinematic describe the body motion without regarding to the force that produced from that motion. And then kinetic is the concept deals about body motion and the force that cause the shuttle to move. In these kinematic variables, we have the type of motion in doing the backhand service is described as a general motion, which is a complex combination of a linear and angular components of motion. Then, what linear motion is when all parts of our body moving in the same direction and at the same speed. Angular motion is described as a rotation that occurs around a central imaginary line that we know as the rotation axis. So, the backhand service is a movement of a multi-segment body. Then, for the magnitude of motion, the projection angle will determine the projectile trajectory. So, by having an oblique trajectory, or known as parabolic motion, the shuttle will be influenced by the vertical and the horizontal magnitude. Next, the rate of motion is about power and speed, which is needed as the shuttle will withstand the wind resistance in order to reach the furthest displacement at the back of the court when doing the backhand service. In kinetic variables, we will define force, which is the simplest way to represent load in biomechanics terms, and also can be defined as the action of one object to another. In backhand service, internal forces are used to act on the structures of the body and are generated by the body tissue. The contact force also occurs in this service, like normal force, which is the force that is perpendicular to the surface of the racket and the tip of the shuttle. So, meanwhile, friction is the force acting on the parallel surfaces. Then, the moment of force, or we call torque, is the force acting on the shuttle that can cause it to rotate. The torque may cause the opponent to hardly receive our backhand serve. Other than that, the lever system is the one to be included for. In this backhand service, it is considered as the first class lever, which is the fulcrum, or our elbow is located between the bicep as the effort and our wrist for the load. This design aids the body in gaining motion and speed. There are three planes of motion in the body, namely the sagittal, the frontal, and the transverse plane. A plane of motion can be described as a particular dimension of motion that runs through an imaginary flat surface on the body. And an axis is an imaginary line that the body is rotating about. The most significant plane of motion that can be identified in practicing backhand services is by having our arm away from the midline in the frontal plane, which is what we call an abduction. Other than that, in the transverse plane, we also have a rotation around an inferior to superior that through the shoulder joint. It is because we need to hit the shuttle away from our body to complete the phases in backhand service. Lastly, the sagittal plane also would be involved as we need our shoulder and elbow to extend to increase the joint angle. Otherwise, we will use shoulder flexion in order to reduce the joint angle.
Hi, my name is Adya Bakis. So I'll continue presenting about the 5 steps to maximizing the skills performance in backhand serve. Firstly is the way athlete grip the racket. To make a great serve, using a backhand serve, athlete should use a backhand grip with the grip racket loosely yet comfortably, and if the athlete need additional control, they can grasp slightly above the hilt, and do not worry about the getting grip precisely right, and they can modify it. Secondly is the way the athlete grip the shuttle. For this skill, athletes should grip the shuttle with hold the shuttle feather with their thumb and forefinger, and if necessary, they can hold with their middle finger and turn the shuttle head towards them, feathers toward the net. The angle at which the shuttle is slanted will have a significant impact on the trajectory of the serve that will make necessary adjustment. Next is the position that athletes should have while serve the shuttle. Because the badminton backhand serve is utilized in both doubles and singles, we shall cover where to stand afterwards. To prepare the badminton backhand serve, they should stand with their racket foot front and their shuttle and racket bearing arms forward as illustrated in the picture. The second last is about the aim. The aim is a very important thing to do forget the great serve, because if the athlete have a wrong aim, it will make the athlete lose their game even further. So in badminton, the backhand serve in badminton includes 2 variants that may utilized in both doubles and single, which is the low serve and the flick serve. Depending on their strategy and whether they are playing singles, doubles or mixed doubles, athletes' position on the court would be marked by red crosses. The low backhand serve's aim will be anywhere within the yellow box. The flick serve aim will be placed within the blue area. Last but not least, the very important part, which is how the athlete fire away their serve. The badminton backhand serve begins with the weight on the back foot and shifts to the front foot during the serve to produce momentum and a more constant flow for a better quality backhand serve. As seen in the animation, the wrist should be drawn back and flick lightly to propel the shuttle forward. The shuttle should be placed at a comfortable distance from the torso and arm so that adequate momentum can be created for a good badminton serve, particularly crucial in a flick serve. Feel free to experiment with various distance until the athlete finds one that is comfortable for them. The low serve should glide slightly over the net and settle directly behind the service line. The shuttle will be lifted and angled slightly upwards for the flick serve. More force should be applied to the method so that the shuttle arrives at its destination. The high serve is not really particularly relevant to the backhand serve, but this figure shows how the trajectory should appear. The flick serve, despite eventually arriving at the rear of the court, should go swiftly and without much hike. The low serve should glide slightly over the net and settle directly behind the service line.
Okay, next we move to the last part, which is the conclusion. As we know, the backhand service is one of the techniques that we often learn for the badminton player, even who are new to the field, also will often do a high serve. This backhand service is more convincing for players to fight with the opponent with 3 types of serve, namely the high serve, the flick serve and the low serve. It is hugely important to develop a good serve because it is the first shot of the rally. So you are more likely to win the point for that rally. Next, you can use the backhand serve in badminton for both doubles and singles to achieve a different result. In doubles, you also can use it to make a surprise hit. So that's all from us. Thank you.